A villainess who cares about nothing but magic circles enters a political marriage with the crown prince in order to read an ancient grimoire. Chapter 1. A 5-year-old falls in love with the magic circle on the floor. That day, Lysette saw a magic circle for the first time. The place was the parlor of the Marquis Sylvain household. On the stone floor in front of the fireplace, circles, straight lines, and unfamiliar symbols were densely carved. A normal 5-year-old would probably think this. What a pretty patterns. But Lysette de Sylvain was different. She stopped dead in her tracks and froze, staring down at the floor.
What is this?
Marie, the head maid, noticed something was wrong right away. My lady, is something the matter? There was no reply. Lysette's gaze was completely pinned to the floor. An outer frame built on a hexagonal base. A circle fitting snugly inside it. Lines running from 3 points on the circle's circumference toward the center. And fine symbols crossing through them. Moreover, it repeated toward the center, over and over, following the same rule. This was no mere decoration. It had meaning. No, far too much meaning.
What is this?
Her heart gave a heavy thud. It was a pulse too strong for a small 5-year-old chest to bear. The thickness of the lines. The placement of the symbols. The angles of the intersections. Everything was assembled toward some purpose. Beautiful, beautiful to the point of horror. And at the same time, she couldn't stop being drawn to it. At that moment, something snapped inside Lysette's head. The pale blue glow of a monitor. The sound of a keyboard echoing through a late-night office. Rows of symbols and numbers lined up on a screen. Math, logic, no waste. And the thrill of the moment when something perfectly built began to run without a single flaw.
I see, I remember now.
Memories of her past life had come back. That's too gentle a way to put it. Her original thought circuits, which had been sleeping soundly for 5 years, had suddenly rebooted at full power. Sprinting at full speed straight out of sleep, not exactly kind to the brain. She had hated logical inconsistency. She had loved beautiful equations. She was the kind of person who, upon seeing a structure built without waste, would prioritize it over meals or sleep. And now, that person had woken up as a 5-year-old Marquis's daughter.
A recursive structure.
At the murmur that slipped out, Marie's hand froze. Huh, my lady, what did you just? Marie turned around and froze on the spot. The young lady who, just seconds ago, had been walking gracefully like a proper lady, was now crawling flat on the floor. My lady. The hem of her silk dress spread out with a rustle across the boundary between carpet and stone floor. As if that were none of her concern, Lysette brought her face closer to the stone floor before the fireplace. Close. Very close. Her nose was almost touching the floor.
Magnificent, the outer circle defines the whole while the inner hexagon branches the conditions. The lines toward the center are self-referential. In other words, this design repeats its processing recursively.
My lady, you'll get dirty from the floor, your dress too. Also, a Marquis's daughter does not press herself against floors.
Marie, quiet, I'm tracing the processing flow right now.
Processing, flow, my lady, whatever are you talking about? Marie's shriek went in one of Lysette's ears and out the other. For Lysette right now, the world revolved around the magic circle on the floor.
So this is what they call a magic circle in this world.
She had known it as knowledge. This world has magic. To manipulate mana, one uses a diagram called a magic circle. But to the 5-year-old Lysette, it had just been a pretty pattern, the same as a picture book illustration or a family crest. At least until today.
No, completely wrong. This isn't a picture, it's a blueprint for moving mana. The symbols are commands, the lines are pathways. Combine them and you get a spell formula.
In short,
isn't this the best thing ever?
The world of logic she had loved endlessly in her past life could, Here, actually kindle fire, stir wind, and raise barriers. Being shown something like this and being expected to stay calm, that was simply asking too much. However, the more she read into it, the more Lysette's delight shifted into another emotion. Unease, irritation, and an unforgivable sense of waste.
Wait, what is this design?
Lysette furrowed her brow deeply.
The framework is clean, but the contents are a mess. Why insert a wasteful pathway here? These three symbols could be consolidated into one, couldn't they? And the termination condition for the loop is lax. If the mana becomes unstable, there's a chance it won't stop. Who on earth drew a circle this full of holes?
A 5-year-old was seriously scolding the floor. That sight alone was grinding away at Marie's sanity.
And what it's used for is terrible too.
Lysette slapped the floor repeatedly.
Decoration in front of the fireplace, just an ornament, you must be joking. This is a spell formula that gathers faint fire mana and continuously radiates heat. And yet the activation mechanism is missing. In other words, it stayed asleep this whole time. A spell formula that doesn't work is worse than a paperweight. It's an insult to the structure itself.
My lady, what has come over you? Have you been possessed by an evil spirit?
Marie had finally reached her limit. She lunged at Lysette from behind, trying somehow to peel her off the floor. But Lysette resisted stubbornly too. Hooking her fingers into the grooves of the stone floor, she resisted with a tenacity unbefitting a 5-year-old.
Let go, Marie, I need paper and a pen. I have to write out the structure right now, cut the waste and organize it into a perfect form.
Oh, organize. You have a fever. You definitely have a fever. Someone fetch a doctor.
Her cries must have carried out into the hallway. Hurried, clattering footsteps approached, and the parlor door burst open.
Lady Marie, what's happened?
It's my lady. My lady has been possessed by an evil spirit.
Fetch a doctor right away.
Screams spread through the hallway. From a distance, the butler's low voice could also be heard. A 5-year-old's strength was never going to win against an adult head maid. Lysette was dragged off the floor and hoisted up under Marie's arm.
Ah, wait, please, at least let me check that one conditional expression.
Even as she flailed her arms and legs, Lysette's eyes never left the magic circle on the floor. Even as she was carried out of the parlor, her fingers, swimming through the air, traced the invisible circle at high speed.
Allocate 30% of the mana to defining the perimeter. No, that way the whole thing stops if the condition breaks down. Should it be a fixed value, but then the connection to the central processing.
My lady has broken.
The head maid's scream echoed through the halls of the Marquis's mansion. From the first floor to the second, doors opened one after another as servants peeked out. Facing all of them, still tucked under Marie's arm, Lysette announced with utmost seriousness.
Please bring me paper as much as possible. Tonight is going to be a long one.
Every servant in the mansion turned pale at once. 1 hour later, the doctor's diagnosis was, of all things, no abnormalities. Lysette said, in a perfect noble voice.
It seems I got a little too excited. I've calmed down now.
And pulled it off flawlessly. The doctor nodded, saying probably just temporary fatigue, while Marie protested, that's absolutely not it. Unfortunately, she was not heeded. The doctor left, and Marie, her eyes swollen from crying, left the room as well. The door closed. The instant it did, Lysette's eyes flew open and she kicked off the covers.
I'm not tired at all. If anything, my mind has never been clearer in my entire life.
Lysette stood by the window and looked down at the Marquis's garden, dyed in the colors of dusk. The world she had until now thought boring. The world she had thought was made up of etiquette, tea parties, and similar, repetitive conversations. Now it looked completely different. This world itself looked like an enormous blueprint. And a blueprint that no one had yet fully read.
Magic circles, a formula language for controlling mana, and an unexplored territory full of holes whose true potential no one has ever drawn out.
A flame of intellectual curiosity lit up in Lysette's pale violet eyes. Her lips curved into a smile of their own accord.
Isn't this just the best?
Lysette spun on her heel and headed for the writing desk in the corner of the room. From the drawer, she pulled out a stack of blank paper, a quill pen, and a bottle of ink.
First, I'll reproduce the fireplace's circle from memory alone. From there, I'll analyze the basic structure and work out the rules of this world's magic circles. The night is long, after all.
The quill raced across the paper. Scratch, scratch. That was the beginning of Lysette's very long journey of inquiry. And then, 1 hour later, Lysette's pen stopped.
This is bad.
While analyzing the fireplace's spell formula, she had realized something. This design quirk wasn't unique to that one circle.
This world's magic circles are probably all built on the same principle.
If that were the case, then this country's defensive barrier might carry the same flaw.
This country's barrier.
Lysette set the quill down on the desk.
The design is wrong.
She ran the calculation. No matter how many times she thought it through, the conclusion didn't change.
If a once-in-decades mana storm comes, this country's barrier will collapse.
Her voice faded quietly into the room. No one was listening. Only a 5-year-old girl bore the weight of that fact, alone. End of chapter 1. A 5-year-old falls in love with the magic circle on the floor.